Well, hello and welcome to Weybread Carp Fishery. You join me here on a day session. It's the start of November and I'm planning to do a bit of a winter campaign on here through the next few months. It's an ideal fishery for a winter campaign. It's only about 3 acres in size. It's got a couple of hundred fish, and speaking to Adam, the owner, and he thinks one in every 10 captures is now a 30-pounder as well. So that's an impressive stock of fish for such a small fishery. In fact, I was going through the Facebook page a couple of days ago and saw the lake records has been beaten with a 40-pounder. So that was really great to see. It's actually a fish that I stocked in here about 10 years ago. That went in about £6, and yeah, last week just gone over £40. So yeah, ideal for a winter venue for me to target. So I'm gonna do a bit of a diary piece of my sessions all the way through the winter. Mostly they're going to be day sessions. I might be able to get the odd night in, but mostly day sessions. And yeah, we'll see how we get on really. We're hoping to basically catch a winter 30-pounder, hopefully get a few 20s as well, but a winter 30-pounder would be absolutely amazing. Well possible. And so yeah, we're down here for the first of hopefully many day sessions over the next few months, and we're going to see how we get on today. So the peg I'm fishing is peg 4. It's actually a double peg, so you've got 2 pegs basically either side here. You can see I've got 1 rod in that one, 2 rods in that one. It's actually a double peg that you book for 2 people most of the time, but if it's quiet you can have 1 person in here. It's probably my favourite peg on the lake. I've had a lot of fish out of this peg, so it's got a lot of options in it. You've got this small bay to the right hand side, the far margin, which is always good for a bite. I've seen a few fish in there today already showing on that far side. I've got 2 rods in there, and then you've also got open water in here as well. And I've seen a lot of fish out there today. They've been fizzing up there all day, bubbling up, and I've got one rod and they've been over the solid bag I've got out there and not had a touch. I spoke to Adam earlier and he said it has been fishing quite hard. The fish have been really active, but just not been doing the bites. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one really, but it's good to see some activity. They're definitely feeding and they're showing, so that's half the battle. You can see where the fish are and where they're feeding, then it gives you something to go on at least. So yeah, I've been trying to try a few different things. I've got different sort of options on each of the rods and just trying to see what works. It's been a little while since I've fished here, probably a couple of years since I've been here, to be honest with you, how time flies. But obviously I've got a few things I know work from before, but it's been quite busy the last few weeks, well all summer really, and it's probably as quiet as it's been all year, Adam was saying. And so, you know, the fish have had a lot of pressure on them all summer, so they're going to be pretty wise to what's going on. So I've got to try and figure out something that works, but they're definitely active, they're definitely feeding, so it's game on. Don't know if you can see the bubbling out there, but just in here they've been bubbling out there all day, on and off. Starting to get a few liners on here now as well. I think I might have I redone that rod sort of in the middle of the day, ready for this sort of time, and I think I might have put it a bit too far out. They're sort of feeding right on my line now, but it's just a bit too late in the day to have to redo it now. I've just got to stick with it and hope it can move. There you go. They've been active all day. There's been a couple of fish show there, but yeah, still have not got a bite. Well, we're just now coming to the end of my first day session of the winter campaign. No fish. The rods are still out, so there might still be a chance. But it's been a bit of a frustrating day. Plenty of fish activity, but just can't get a bite. Fizzing up out there, but yeah, fizzers are always a little bit tricky sometimes to target if they're preoccupied with something out in the silt. But learnt quite a bit. For the next trip, hopefully get out again next week for another day session if I can, work allowing. We started off the trip with a couple of solid bags. I did bring my bait boat today, put one rod out with a bait boat as well, and yeah, nothing's really worked, to be honest with you. Tried a few different things, changed hook baits, got some bright ones and dark ones, but yeah, unfortunately it's not really been the one, so back to the drawing board. But got a few more minutes, but yeah, the light's going now, so I'll have to be off home soon and try again next week. Well, you join me back at Weybread Carp Fishery for the second trip of my winter campaign. It's actually 2 weeks later since the last time I was here. I was hoping to get over last week, but anyway, work and family commitments meant that I didn't manage to get over. So we're just coming up to about midday now. Got here at first light this morning. It's actually been a bit of a frost this morning, probably down to about -1, so it's probably the coldest it's been for quite a while. A lot colder than last time I was here. But back in the same swim again, peg 4. It's probably my favourite peg on the lake, and I clipped up a few spots the last time I was here, and I trickled a bit of bait in as well. Although it was 2 weeks ago, just trying to get just get them feeding on a spot. I've actually switched to the switch for this winter campaign. I've been using bug for the whole year, but decided to had a bit of switch left over from a match we fished in the summer, so I thought, well, why not, we'll give the switch a go. Did well for me in the summer when I'd used it basically to try and avoid catching catfish of a certain venue we were at. Anyway, had quite a bit of switch left over in 8 and 12 millers, so got stocked up with a bit of liquids and everything like that, and that's what we're using on this trip. I've also brought a few maggots with me, but I don't think they're going to be much of a goer because I put a rig out with a few maggots on it and the roach just absolutely caned it for the shallow spot anyway, so I've sacked those off. I've got one rod with the maggots on it on a deeper spot out in the middle, so the spot I've got out there basically saw a load of fish fizzing up last time I was here. We couldn't get a bite off them, didn't have any maggots with me then, so I thought, well, I'll try a few maggots this time round, and the roach seemed to be leaving them alone out in the deeper water. It's about 11 foot or so, and then the other two, which are more on the shallower areas on the margins and the right hand side of the swim, they are, yeah, maggots are no go. So I started off with a few maggots on there and sacked them off pretty quickly because just yeah, they lasted about 10 minutes before the bobbins were just bouncing up and down, and then they'd stop and all the maggots had come off the maggot clip. which is fine. It was just a little experiment. I haven't used maggots here before, because I'm normally just caught on bait, to be honest, on boilies and pellets and things, so there's been no need, but I thought just bring a few just in case there might be a bit of an edge. So yeah, I've got one bait boated out with a few maggots on, and the bait boat in a solid bag, and then I've got one little mesh bag of switch on the other rod, on my middle rod, and with a little PB wafter, and then the other one I've got bait boated out, that one with just my nice crumbed switch winter mix, which I'll show you a bit later on. But yeah, so far it's been pretty quiet. I have seen 3 fish show on this right hand margin though. I tried to get some on the GoPro, but sod's law, put it on there, they showed, put it out there, try and get them showing. The battery died on it because it's quite cold still, and then as I was changing the battery, one showed, so I just didn't manage to get it on camera, but hey ho. Oh, someone over the other side there. I thought they had a bit of a run or a line or something there. Not sure what happened there, but anyway, there is some fish showing. They've been showing in the bay behind the island I'm on here. Peg 4, as I mentioned last time, is behind me. Sorry, Peg 4 and the bay behind here is a shallow area, and they've been showing in there too. The same as last time I was here, so there's definitely fish activity. As I said, 3 fish in my actual bay where I'm fishing along that margin, which is really good to see. Literally put a bait boat right on top of where one showed. I had the deeper on the boat as well, and it's 4 foot there, so the water is a little bit lower than normal. It's probably a foot down on what it can be, so it still hasn't filled up yet. It's been quite dry anyway. So yeah, so it's just coming up to midday. A beautiful sunny day, but very, very quiet. I don't think there's been anything out over the weekend from what I've heard. Did a few fish the week I was here last. Did a couple of 30-pounders, I know, so and that's what we're after, just trying to catch a winter 30. Anyway, we'll see how the afternoon pans out, and we'll speak to you soon. Right, so I've had a bit of a reshuffle with the rods. My open water rod, that was fishing the solid bag. There wasn't much showing out there all sort of day. It is 2 o'clock or so now, I think 1:30, 2 o'clock. So I thought, I've seen fish showing on my margin to the right. So I thought, not been anything out there, I'll move all 3 rods to this margin because I've seen them showing along their margin a few times. Wound that rod in, put it in the margin, and the fish just nutted out right where I've just wound it in from. I then moved one from the middle of this margin across a little bit into the corner where it's in one, where I've just wound it in from. The fish just shown 3 times over that spot, so it's enough to make you bloody go mad. So anyway, I've got 3 rods on the margin now, and all 3 spots where they are is where fish have shown. It's quite shallow though. It is between a 4.5 and 3.5 foot deep, basically, which is probably 3.5 especially is probably a bit more shallow than I'd really want, but they've definitely have shown there a few times, so we'll give it a go. But bloody sod's law, I moved my open water rod and they've just shown there. Anyway, I'll keep an eye out there now. The sun's going down now, and it was quite nice for a little while the sun was out, but another one has just jumped over the spot I've just moved a rod from then that margin. That is unbelievable. Yeah, as I was saying, it's getting a bit colder now, the sun's going down. It was quite nice for a little while, but the temperature was dropping quite rapidly again, so I'm hoping these light levels dropping that something might make a mistake, but God, It's enough to make you go mad. Anyway, let's see what happens. I might end up moving the rod back to where it was again. Oh, and one other thing, the open water rod that I thought was fine with the maggots wasn't. I hadn't had an indication, but I didn't know all the maggots had gone off that one as well. So not sure if they're going to be the one here really this winter. It's mid-November, so it might be okay when it gets a bit colder, but the way things stand, I don't think they're not going to be a major player with the old maggots, unfortunately. But yeah, it was worth a little go. So this is my winter feed mix, based all around the switch really. I've got some switch 12mm boilies in here, some 8mm boilies, some switch pellet, the smaller pellets there, you see the crayfish mini mix, and also some crumbed up with a boilie crusher. I've crumbed up a load of switch as well, and then that's been soaked in the switch liquid food and switch hydro spod syrup. So then, you know, it's been left a couple of days at home. I did that, and it's all nice and really nice smell to it. To that, I've just got a tin of corn as well, so I haven't mixed it in with this because the corn will go a bit funny, so I've just been adding a bit of that to the bait boat, just a normal bit of corn in there, just a sprinkling, just a bit of colour. And then we've got half-tone wafter. I fished on that over the top of it. Well, we're just coming to the end of the day again. It's about 3:30. The light levels are dropping. There's been fish showing all along the margin on the other side of the lake to my left. Consistently, there is a guy fishing there, and he hasn't had anything. Very similar to me. He's got rods along that margin, and he hasn't had anything. I've got rods along my margin on this side of the lake, and I've not managed to get anything yet either. The fish have been consistently showing at the back of this, out here, the bridge you can see behind me. Where is it? There. And they've been showing out here, so I've just put a bit of bait in there for next time. Just my sort of high tracked switch boilie mix that I showed you earlier, just some of that off the bridge. Just to put a bit more out there as well. I'll go around with a catapult a few from the swim round there. I've brought about 4 buckets of bait with me today. It seems a bit excessive for a day session, but I had a bucket of maggot, I had my switch mix, I had all the liquids and switch boilies, and I had my solid bag bucket. But I think after today I can refine that down probably to 2 buckets for the next trip. It's always the way when you're starting out on a new campaign that you're not too sure how you're going to fish it. So I brought lots of options with me today, but hopefully refine that for the next trip. And that really is the idea and the plan of a bit of a campaign like this, is that you start off not knowing what you're going to do, and after a trip or 2 or 3 or 4 you start to refine things, and then get a bit more of an idea of what you're doing, hopefully resulting in a bite at some point soon. There's still time today. I'm not writing up my chances quite yet. I've had a couple of liners, but not many. So yeah, we've just got the last sort of half hour or so of the trip. I'll be packed up on dark and off home. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the last hour or so, and fingers crossed we'll get one. But if not, we've learnt a lot today, and we'll be back hopefully next week for another go. The GoPro on the rod for a lot of the day, and sod's law, took it off the rod to do a little summary of the day, saying we've still got a chance of a bite. Battery's about to die, so I changed the battery on it, and I bloody well got a bite while I was just changing the battery. this was, I'm whispering because it's quite a lot of people on the lake and I don't really want everyone to hear. Hopefully you can hear me. This was the ever faithful solid bag with the SLK smoke, messing around with the bait boat. And I think from what I've seen now, a few people fishing on it, everyone seems to be bait boating, which I think just gives you everyone a very, very similar presentation. So this was the solid bag on a spot I've caught from before, a method I've caught a lot of fish on here from before. And it's not a bad fish. It is got real deep margins here, drops off sort of 8 foot right under the rod tip here, so it's chugging up and down here. It's not a small fish, I don't think. Definitely not. It's not a 12 pounder anyway, let's put it that way. So yeah, again this time of year, sunny day. Light levels drop. I think you could almost just turn up here at midday really and put the rods out at midday, ready for the bite time on dusk. No real need to get here early, but we still do. It seems silly to pay for a day ticket and turn up just for the last few hours. He's definitely hanging on, as they say. She's in the net. Chunk. Yes. That is a result. Really happy with that one. It's yeah, second day session. Off the mark. End of the day, left it till last knockings, but I think that's going to be the case, to be honest with you. Just seems to be on previous, the time I've done on here before, it's all been evening bites. Like it's probably almost 4 o'clock now, so that is a bloody well. That is a good result. Shouldn't swear really. And he is 34 pound. That is wicked. 34 pound. Well, what did I say? I'm trying to catch a winter 30 out of here. I've done it on the second trip. Would you believe it? And there we go. That'll do. £34. A Weybread Carp Fishery mirror carp on a solid bag, ever faithful solid bag with a bug half tone. After messing around with that bait boat all day, just a solid bag on the far margin is all we needed. Absolute chunk.